pressure coming, sack. Kevin Snyder came on the late blitz.
And then do it over and over and over again.
Coming and blocked. They got it.
Because the team that does it better is usually the team that wins.
Live from Brother Jimmy's on Easton Avenue in New Brunswick, this is the Kyle Flood Show. Your chance to talk with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. The Kyle Flood Show is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Pepsi, live in the moment. The beat starts at Pepsi.com. Pepsi, live for now. UPS, to learn how UPS can put the power of logistics to work for you, visit thenewlogistics.com. To be a part of the show, call 855-FLOOD-44. That's 855-356-6344. Now, let's go live to Brother Jimmy's in New Brunswick. Alongside Coach Flood, here's Chris Carlin.
It is our final edition of the 2014 season of the Kyle Flood Show, live at Brother Jimmy's Barbecue here in downtown New Brunswick. Welcome, everybody. Chris Carlin, alongside Eric LeGrand and the head coach at Rutgers, Kyle Flood, as the Scarlet Knights prepare for the Quick Lane Bowl. That is coming up on Friday, December the 26th at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, a 4:30 p.m. kickoff against the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Big E, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Chris.
Coach, how we doing?
We're doing great. It's great to be back. Looking forward to the bowl game. Seems like it's been a while since we've been here.
It has been. It has been a while. We want you to be a part of the show at 855-FLOOD-44. Give us a call. That's 855-356-6344. You can also tweet us your questions at @OurFootball. And as always, if you're here in attendance at Brother Jimmy's, come on up front and get your questions in for the coach. And since we haven't spoken in a while, and I know that I don't think you'll mind me bringing it back up, even though we're a couple of weeks removed from it, the single greatest comeback in school history, a 41-38 win over Maryland to close out the regular season. And it's amazing. I actually went back and was looking at a tape of that game today. And, boy, I mean, just the more and more you look at it, the more remarkable it is.
Yeah, I did not know it was the largest comeback in history until after the game. Jay came over and said that to me, and I don't know that I really had a full appreciation for it really until there were a couple days later. There were so many things about that game to me that were really positives for our program, not just the determination to come back, the poise of the team late in the game, even after a turnover late in the game, to get a defensive stop. Just some tremendous plays in the game on offense, defense, and special teams. And then to do all of those things in a stadium where our offensive coordinator had not only played, but had been the head coach and had had a lot of success. And when you look up in the rafters and you see the coaches that are in the Hall of Fame from that school and you see Ralph Friedgen's name standing with them, I thought it was just really a special night for our program and for all the people involved in this year's team.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about the locker room. You go into halftime now. You have to make adjustments. I wanted to ask you what the attitude was like in the locker room at halftime, and then after the game, when you get a game like that, you know, dedicating it to Coach Ralph Friedgen, and got to see what he said after the game, and it looked like some incredible stuff that was going on in that locker room.
Yeah, it was awesome stuff. You know, the mood at halftime I thought was very focused. Mm-hmm. You know, we had come into the halftime off a score, knowing we were getting the ball again in the second half. So I thought we had a lot of focus in the locker room, and I thought we came out and played like it, which was important because we got the touchdown, had a great kickoff return to start the second half. A couple plays later, we ended up in the end zone. Then I believe we got a 3-and-out, or we stopped them on the next drive, and were able to keep the momentum going in that second half. So I thought we had a lot of poise, even though we hadn't necessarily played our best football in the first half. We had finished the half strong. We had some poise, and then I thought we really played our best football in the second half.
And, I mean, was there a particular moment for you that, all right, we're in good shape here in terms of coming back in this game? Was it being able to cut it to 35-24 as quickly into the second half as you did because of that kick return?
Sure. I knew when we got the ball at the end of the first half, we had an opportunity because I knew we were getting the ball in the second half. So I said, if we can get points and then points again, you've got a different game. And then we got a touchdown and a touchdown, so we had the best possible scenario happen. And really, after that touchdown in the second half, the first drive, that was when I knew we were going to be in that game for the duration.
And when you see the stat sheet, I know you don't get to see it during the game, but a few days later, you look at how well Gary Noble performed, and he was the MVP this year's season. Can you just talk about how now, going out, that was his last, pretty much last regular season game, and the poise that he's had to be able to lead that team to that victory at the end of the game?
I thought it was a great way for him to finish his regular season career, playing great football, making great decisions, some tremendous throws, 3 different receivers over 100 yards for the game. Really, some great third down conversions. I think we were about 58 or 59% on third down in that game. And I had said, the game before where we didn't play particularly well, one of the big reasons we didn't play so very well was because of third down. We couldn't stay on the field. We couldn't get off the field. And we really made a lot of improvement in that game in terms of how we executed third down. And third down is the money down. And the reality is most of that is on the quarterback. And Gary played very well, and that's his job, is to play really well. And I was really excited for the way he got a chance to finish his regular season.
On the flip side, you touched on it a bit, and there's always a lot made of halftime adjustments, probably too much. Was it just strictly a case of executing better on defense to come up with some of those stops? Because you give up 35 points in the first half, 3 in the second half.
Sure, I think there are some. I think there are always some adjustments that happen at halftime. I don't want to devalue that. You have to really coach through the game. The coaching doesn't stop when the game starts. You really coach through the game in terms of what you're seeing, what the opponent's trying to do to you, what you're trying to do to them, and they're making adjustments too. But I would tell you that the level of execution went up in the second half. There's no doubt, especially on defense. And that's why we were able, I believe, to hold them to 3 points in that second half.
I'm glad you brought up adjustments. I always wanted to know, especially when you come out in the second half, they're going to make their adjustments too. Things may be working for them, but they're going to try some other stuff. So how does that play into when you're into the third and fourth quarter? Now you already have your adjustments in, but then you have to also adjust to what they're now trying to do differently.
Yeah, I think that's where those minutes that you get on the sideline in between series become really critical. And our offense and our defense both have a method for how they do it and how they review what's happened. Things that went wrong, things that went right. Why did they go right? And not always when you make a play is it always perfect. So sometimes there's corrections to be made there to make sure you don't get exposed in another area. But that is the work, that is the nuance, I think, of the game, and it's really the game within the game. And they show a little bit more of it now on TV than they used to. You see in the NFL they're using iPads now instead of the old photographs. We're not allowed to do that in college football, so we try to generate the pictures on our own as the series is going on, because that's really the best teaching tool you can have.
Down the stretch in that game, you talked about a couple of individual plays. I thought with the third and fourth down stop, the third down play by Darius Hamilton was staggering because they run a play with an end around on a little flip that they had not run the entire game, and on a 3rd and 1, not remotely fooled by it.
No, and if you go back and you watch the TV copy closely, the coach's copy is obvious. Darius makes a tremendous play on 3rd down to make the tackle in the backfield. A great formed tackle to keep the offensive player from going forward and getting the first down. And then even on the 4th down play, when Kamoko makes the tackle, it's really Darius that's holding the line of scrimmage. And if you go back and watch it, anybody who has access to a TV copy, you're really gonna be in awe of what he does on that play. It is one of the more spectacular plays I've seen a defensive player make in my career.
Can you talk a little bit more about the special teams and how that played a huge role in the game? People forget about it sometimes, but a big kickoff return coming out of half and the missed field goals, things like that. Can you talk about the field position battle also?
Yeah, in 2 of our wins this year, Kyle Federico was our special teams player of the year, and none of those awards are easy when you're sitting there as a staff and you're discussing it, and there's always more than one, especially with a team like this, a team that a really special group of players. But I just felt like if you look at the season and you really look at what Kyle did, handling all the kickoffs for the year, handling the field goals, and then in two of our key wins, 2 of our Big Ten wins this year, out kicking the opposing team's kicker, both at Michigan and against Maryland. Those are game-changing performances. And in the Maryland game, really, although they don't necessarily kick against each other, he outperformed them in the game. And that young man might be one of the top 5 kickers in the country. But in that game, Kyle was 2 for 2. He's 1 for 2, and we win the game.
And he had a streak going in of about, I think it was 23 straight.
Hadn't missed one all year.
Yeah.
Hadn't missed a field goal or an extra point the entire year.
And did miss one down the stretch in that game. Now, we talked about the locker room a little bit, but I was particularly struck by Coach Friedgen in that all week there was certainly talk about him going back to Maryland. I thought the folks at Maryland did a nice job in honoring him and putting him up on the scoreboard during the game.
Very classy.
Very classy on their part. But in typical Coach Friedgen fashion, as he addressed the team after the game, he didn't make it about him at all. He made it about what this team did this year and what they can still do this year.
Sure, and really the entire week, everybody talked about Ralph Friedgen except for Ralph Friedgen.
Yep.
And he didn't. He told me I asked him earlier in the week if he wanted to speak publicly at all, and he said no. It's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it about the game. He wanted to make it about the players, but the players wanted it to be about him. You know, the players were very very conscious of the fact that Coach Friedgen was going home, and they were excited to play that game for him, and I think they did. There's no doubt that they did. And to see the excitement in the locker room afterwards, when I got a chance to give Coach Friedgen that sign, that's a moment in their lives that they're going to be talking about for the rest of their lives. Every time that team gets back together, they're going to relive a lot of the moments from this season, but that's going to be one of them that they always remember.
And someone like you, Coach, and Coach Friedgen, is that a moment that you guys will never forget? You know, with the players, you seen the excitement with that comeback. You know, it was incredible, Coach. Two totally different teams. It felt like in the first half and the second half.
It was really the reason why I wanted the picture. I wanted to have a picture of that. It'll go up in my office. Coach Friedgen has been such a positive for this program. I have learned a tremendous amount from being able to spend this season with him, things that are going to help me be better as I go through the rest of my career. And it was just a small moment that we could give back to him because I know it was special for him to be back home at Maryland.
So you had to wait about a week to find out what your bowl destination was going to be. Tell me about when you found out, how you found out, and how you told the team.
Sure. We found out a couple Sundays ago, and you know, we didn't know. I mean, the Quick Lane had sent me this sweater, this beautiful sweater with the logo on it. They had sent me that a couple weeks before Selection Sunday. So
maybe they knew something.
Yeah, maybe they knew something. I had a feeling, or maybe they just like us. You know, but it's a nice sweater, and it's free, so we took it. If they send me another one, I'll get it.
I'm about to say, Coach. You know, I'm really going to ask you.
But but you know, we found out Sunday. I got a chance to talk to Tom Lawand, Dan Jurasevich, and Kerry Cottle. Kerry Cottle. I apologize for not getting her name right away. But the people that were really important to that game, Tom Lawand is the general manager of the Detroit Lions. They're the host of the game, and they're going to do a tremendous job out there at Ford Field. And when you think about all the things that make a bowl game great, you know, location. We got a great city in Detroit, a great spot to play the football game in Ford Field, 72 degrees and sunny on game day, every day of the year.
Every day.
So that's awesome. And then an opponent, to have another Power 5 conference opponent in North Carolina, a national brand, is going to be a lot of fun for our players to compete against them from the ACC. And then the bowl experience, which, again, you know, I commend the Detroit Lions. Seeing what they have lined up for the players is going to be great. The gifts that they're going to give the players. I don't know if there's a cheeseburger involved, Eric, but I know there's a lot of other stuff going on. And it looks like a first-class experience that the people at the Quick Lane Bowl and the Detroit Lions are going to provide. So I know our players are going to have a great time. I know Joseph's going to have a great time. Joseph's wandering his way over here, and, you know. Hey,
where is he? Is he hanging out
He's behind the camera. There he is.
You got to get in front of the camera, Joseph. How you doing? How you doing, buddy?
Young Joseph Flood hanging out behind the cameras. Well, and you've got the travel Christmas tree to bring to Detroit.
Yeah, you know, the much talked about travel tree. You know, I threw that one out there, and that is something that my wife started a long time ago, and to make sure that we had the Christmas experience on the road. I think, I don't know, is it 4 or 5 Christmases during bowl week since we've been here, 10 years. So, you know, I know that we're fortunate that Santa does make a trip to the bowl game. He doesn't just stop at home, but he comes to the bowl game as well, and he drop a few things at the bowl game and leave everything else at the house.
I'm about to say, Coach, you already prepared for Christmas. You know, you already did it. What's it like for the Flood family then for Christmas then? Like when you wake up?
It's easy for the family, Eric, because I do everything. I get everything done. No, actually, I'm not involved in any way. I'm fortunate that my wife, Amy, does a phenomenal job of holding the fort down while we're coaching football. And I got a question from the TV crew today asking me if, you know, what I wanted for Christmas. I said, I'm already going to get it. I said, when the bowl game is over, we travel home. I'm going to have a couple days off to spend at home with the family, and that'll be the best gift I can get.
There you go.
Here comes young Joseph.
There he comes. He's ready to go. You got a question for me, Joseph? How you doing, buddy? You come right here.
What's up, man? I miss the long hair, Coach.
I know you do. I
missed the
know.
long
We were
hair.
close. We were close to getting the dreads. We were really close.
Does Joseph miss the long hair?
I don't think so. I think
He's
it's
okay?
still long enough. He's doing all right.
Well, we'll take our first time out. When we come back, we'll talk about the awards banquet the other night and all the different awards that were handed out. We'll also preview the matchup with North Carolina. We want you to be a part of the show. Give us a call at 855-FLOOD44. That's 855-356-6344. And you can tweet your questions at @RFootball. Stay with us. It is the final edition this year in 2014, the Bowl edition of the Kyle Flood Show.
At Selective, insurance is our business. For us, it goes beyond who we are. It's in our DNA.
My car was broken into and my laptop was stolen. I didn't know what to do. Scott and Selective were there to help. He walked me through every step of the process. Now I tell everyone about Selective's wonderful service.
We create diamond moments like this for our customers every day. Want to experience your own? Visit selective.com to find an agent near you.
Hey fans, where do you go when you want to know the latest in college basketball? Go to CampusInsiders.com for your college sports inside scoop and video. Watch live games, sports news, editorial, best plays, highlights, and analysis 24 hours a day on your laptop or mobile device. Get the insider scoop from CampusInsiders.com. College sports all day, every day. And don't forget to download the app on Google Play or iTunes today.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
We built the Audi A3 sedan with available features like 4G LTE Wi-Fi, cutting-edge MMI touch, industry-leading LED headlamp technology, and legendary Audi Quattro all-wheel drive. Because why settle for mediocrity when you can power past it? Stay uncompromised.
Experience luxury without compromise in the new Audi A3 with legendary Quattro all-wheel drive at your local New Jersey Audi dealer. The New Jersey Audi dealers, proud sponsors of Rutgers Athletics.
Oh, what up, Rutgers? Hey, guess what? I bet you didn't know you're about to have 3 different kinds of barbecue sauce all over that sweet, sticky mug of yours. Also, bet you didn't know, down south in North Carolina, we can actually make some of the best barbecue you've ever had in your ding-dong life. So come on down to Brother Jimmy's Barbecue and put some South in your mouth. Brother Jimmy's Barbecue, located at 5 Easton Avenue, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Or check us out at brotherjimmys.com. See y'all real soon.
We are back at Brother Jimmy's in downtown New Brunswick for this week's edition of the Kyle Flood Show, the Bowl edition, and Rutgers Road to the Bowl is proudly presented by Selective Insurance and Burger Fi. For more information on Rutgers Road to the Bowl, log on to rutgersbowl.com. The 26th of December, which is next Friday, Scarlet Knights will take on North Carolina at Ford Field in the Quick Lane Bowl. It is formerly the Motor City Bowl, but it is the inaugural Quick Lane Bowl. And
Different people running the game, though.
Yep, the Detroit Lions, in fact, as you were talking about, going to be a first class, and it is a tremendous facility. And so how will you handle this in terms of practicing next week? What will the schedule look like as the team gets ready to play in the game?
We're going to travel to the bowl site on Monday, and we're hoping by this Saturday, to have at least installed every part of the game plan and practiced it. It's a little bit tricky because we're in final exams right now. So this is a very academically intensive week for our student athletes. We got to give them enough time to make sure that they're getting ready so they can finish the semester the right way. But we are taking some time to practice. We practiced yesterday. We're going to practice tomorrow. We'll have a little walkthrough on Friday, and then we're going to practice on Saturday. And by the end of the day Saturday, we should have had everything installed at least once. And then when we get to game week, we'll go through a normal game week. So Monday will be like our Tuesday will be like Wednesday, etc. But in terms of travel, we're going to travel to the bowl site on Monday, so we'll practice in New Jersey on Monday morning, then gather ourselves up and get ready, and then get on the plane and be in Detroit by dinner time.
At this time now, with practice, do you keep it just as long as you did earlier in the year or so late in the year now? Do you try to shorten it up a little bit, especially for the veteran guys, and get them young guys out there more practice time with their coaches?
Yeah, it's a little bit shorter. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter now in this time of year. Probably about 20 minutes, not a lot. We don't really have the numbers right now in health to go out and scrimmage the younger guys, but we are getting some individual work in, which I know is going to pay dividends for us as we move forward into next spring.
Coach, I want to ask you about a couple of the guys that got honored by the Big Ten for their regular seasons. First up, first team All Big Ten at wide receiver, Leonte Carew.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough good things you can say about the year Leonte had. He's our offensive MVP on our team from us, and first team All Big Ten is voted on by the media. Certainly very much a deserving award. And Leonte showed up in every game. He was productive and made big plays, and only the 6th receiver in the history of our program to go over 1,000 yards for the season. That's a pretty exclusive club, and there's a lot of good players on that list for sure. And Leonte belongs right there with every one of them.
And, you talk about Leonte. Now he's considered one of these leaders of the team, Coach. Knowing him, seeing him, he's not too loud. Does he just go out there and show what emotion or way he plays the game, or can he get a little bit loud behind the scenes too?
Yeah, I think it's probably more behind the scenes, but he certainly leads by example. He practices at an elite level every day. He's really one of the great competitors in our program. But on game day, it's all business. And there was a great shot in the Washington State game of a ball that didn't quite get to him, and the corner was yapping at him the whole way back. And I'm sure Leonte caught a touchdown at some point after that, probably a couple plays later, because that's just what he does.
Well, appropriately enough, look at how the season started, the very first play.
First play of the game.
And also, you have 3 guys who were honorable mention All Big Ten, Darius Hamilton, Kamoko Toure, and Caleb Johnson. We've already spoken about Darius just a little bit, and we understand what he has meant to this program. Kamoko, in his first year as a redshirt freshman, fill me in a little bit on his growth, his development. A guy that so many times over the last couple of years I've really heard described as a real raw talent.
Oh, he is, and he's less and less of that by the day. He's getting more and more refined. At one point this season was the Special Teams Player of the Week in the Big Ten, which was a tremendous honor for him, blocking that kick against Michigan. And he's becoming more than just a pass rusher. And I think people will see a little bit of that in the bowl game, some of his progress, and certainly as we go forward, we've got 3 more years with him. So that's exciting for somebody who did start as a tremendous raw talent. Now working with Coach Panagos, Coach Rossi, and really taking to the coaching, he's becoming more of a complete player, and I think somebody people are going to have to contend with for a long time.
And Caleb Johnson being honorable mention, also the team I know at the awards and winning the best offensive lineman of the year. How impressed are you with this offensive line, the group that they are, the veteran leadership that they had out there, and to go out week in and week out and just perform?
Yeah, people who listen to me in the spring and in the summer heard me say this quite a few times, that the one place on our team we don't have great depth right now and maturity is on the offensive line, but what we did have was 5 returning starters, 5 guys, and if we could keep them healthy, I felt like we had a chance. And partially because I think we've done a good job in how we've practiced and prepared each week, and partially because we got some tough guys. A guy like Caleb Johnson started 49 straight games as an offensive lineman. That's impressive. A couple of years ago, we had a guy in Scott Vallone who had a similar type of streak at the nose guard position. So, when you have guys like that, they increase the value of everybody around them, because you're looking at that as, hey, if this guy can do it, I can do it. But we've been fortunate, knock on wood, this year. Caleb, Taj, and Bateem have stayed healthy. It's made us a better football team. And now we get one more game with them.
And that kind of leads me into some of the awards that were given out at the Touchdown Club banquet this past Sunday night. And you mentioned Taj. Taj Alexander won the R-Man Courage Award. And, as a lineman, he's not a guy that is ever going to get talked about a whole lot publicly, because unless something is going wrong, because that's just the nature of the position. But tell me about Taj Alexander and what he meant in terms of earning the R-Man Courage Award.
Yeah, I think to really understand why he got that award, you'd have to be around him every day. You'd have to see, Taj is battling through a lot of discomfort to play and to practice each week, and I really appreciate it because on game day he goes out there and he gives us everything he has, and again he makes us better when we're out there. So we need that, and you need your seniors to play their best football to have a special season like this, and a guy like Taj Alexander is doing that for us.
And I'm glad you brought up seniors, someone we've been talking about week in and week out, which is well-deserved. David Maluski, winning all types of awards, and everything that he's doing academically, too. He's the perfect type of player that you would want. Can you explain to him now what it's going to mean him moving on with his career?
Yeah, David's everything that's right about college football. Somebody who's already graduated with a 3.88 GPA, I believe, in finance. He's working on his MBA right now. He's come through 3 different ACL surgeries to play his last 2 years of football healthy. There is nobody in our program tougher than David Maluski. Tremendous leader for the younger players in our program. And you say, all right, hey, how do you become a successful college football player? If you just watch David Maluski and try to do what he does, if you even get close, you're going to be really successful because he's one of those top 1% guys when it comes to intangibles. And now, as I said at the banquet, he'll take his talents elsewhere, to Wall Street or wherever he decides, and he'll be tremendously successful. And he'll make whatever program, whatever company he goes to better the day he gets there.
I have the feeling that at some point we're all going to be working for David Maluski.
It's very possible. Very possible.
He's as impressive as they get. A couple of others, Coach. Another guy on the offensive line, your top lineman, Batim Bujari this year.
Yeah, Batim, that's a tough award to give out. You talk about guys like Batim and Caleb who've played so much football and do it at a high level for us. But I just felt when you say the word value, there's just a little bit more value to the guy who's got to make all the calls and get everybody on the same page and make sure the protections work and make sure the run schemes work. And that was the reason I chose one over the other. But all 3 of those guys got awards, and all 3 of them are deserving. And all 3 of those guys, thank goodness, we've been able to keep them healthy this season.
Can you talk about Jonathan Aiken's award also, too? Him coming in, making some huge plays in critical situations of the game, and being another veteran out there that you can stick in at the DB role. Can you talk about his award that he won?
Yeah, John Aiken winning the Defensive Player of the Week award right out of the gate from the Big Ten, the first Big Ten weekly award winner we've ever had. That's kind of special. And he was in that. I don't know how much I want to start reminiscing about the entire season, but there are certainly going to be moments about this season that nobody's going to forget. And John's going to have no less than 2 of them. When you talk about the forced fumble that got us the ball back to take the lead, and then the pass breakup really to seal the game at the end.
2 other guys I just want to hit. And the first one is a guy that, as one of your swarm and finish winners, another guy that probably doesn't get the attention he deserves, but it might be the nature of the position in your particular defense. And tell me if I'm wrong about that, but that's because the numbers don't always jump off the page. But Dewani Mira.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Dewani's a guy who plays the defensive end. He's been a starter for us the last 2 years, plays primarily on first and second down, and does a great job of doing his job. And there's a lot of value to that. And week in and week out, he's there doing his job, and he's swarming to the football on every play. There's no lack of efforts on film when you watch him play. And again, when you have older guys in your program that practice like that play like that, the younger players see it, and then it becomes your culture. And that's the only way to build your culture is to get the older players to perform the way you want to on a daily basis. And the guys in this program right now, you've got David Maluski, Dewani Mera, Caleb Johnson, Batim Bujari, Taj Alexander, Garif Glash, and they're doing it.
And the last one is Gary, because he was named your Axe Player of the Year and winner of the Homer Hazel Trophy as the team's MVP. And Gary's been through it over the last 4 years. There's no question. He has had some rough times. He's had some fantastic times. And it's hard not to feel good for a young man. First of all, the way that he finished the regular season at Maryland with that performance. And then to see him get the standing ovation, which, for a half moment there the other night, he seemed a little overwhelmed by it.
It was a great moment for Gary. Being the starting quarterback at this level in the number 1 media market in the world it's not an easy thing for an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old young person to do. It's not easy to do. And there's a lot of profile. There's a lot of scrutiny that go along with it. And he has handled all those things. And he's come back from every setback he's had. He's come back better. And even this year, within the season, I think people saw that, and it was great in that final regular season game to watch him play like that and help us win that game. And I just felt when you're talking about the most valuable player of the team, when Gary plays at a high level, we've got a chance to win every game. And to me, that makes him the most valuable.
And as a coach, when one of your players takes so much scrutiny, being in that quarterback position, how do you mentor them to deal with that scrutiny and deal with all the people naysayers saying this, that, and then you got people that are behind your back, but You know, and then there's people that will come down your throat on just an incomplete pass, anything.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think what I try to do is I try to educate them through the entire process. And I've said to many players, but it's probably more important to the quarterback than anybody else. If you're going to take the praise, you have to take the criticism. You know, they go hand in hand. And you don't want to be emotionally reactive. You know, as you're getting questioned after a loss, you got to stick to the facts. You know, when you're not 1-0, something went wrong. We didn't do something well enough, and the blame starts with every individual, including the head coach, including the quarterback. And Gary really has done a great job of doing that. And because he's played so much football, people have had a chance to watch him do it, you know, with their own eyes. You know, he's not a guy who redshirted and then sat behind a veteran. From day one, Gary was in the mix and playing. So really the fan base has had a chance to watch him grow up right in front of their eyes.
And, you know, lastly on Gary, you touched on the mental toughness part of it. Physically, he is as tough as it comes.
No doubt. And Gary wants to be out there every snap, and that's every snap of practice, every snap of game. He doesn't want to give up a rep. And he got a little dinged up this year, and he was determined to be the guy. He didn't want to sit out a game. He wanted to play, and that's part of being a quarterback. You know, everybody's looking at you, and if they're questioning your toughness, it gets really hard. But with Gary, we don't have to worry about that because he wants to be out there and nobody's questioning it.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout. We've got plenty more to do. You're listening to the Kyle Flood Show on 1450 AM WCTC in New Brunswick and on ScarletKnights.com. Hey, New Jersey football fans, are you ready for a better way to do car insurance? Well, check out our great rates, taxi reimbursement, and unparalleled service from local folks right here in Jersey at PlymouthRockNJ.com. Certain limitations apply. Back with more on the Bull edition of the Kyle Flood Show in a moment.
Look, you are what you eat, so don't be cheap, fast, easy, or fake. At BurgerFi, we're not some big industry fast food giant. We were born here, in a gourmet kitchen started by gourmet chefs. So while the rest of the world chows down on pink slime, we're serving some of the best beef money can buy. Hormone-free, antibiotic-free, bullshit-free. The way it ought to be. Find a location nearest your mouth hole at BurgerFi.com.
Right now, AT&T has a deal that gives you more of what you want, a lot more. Get the LG G Pad tablet for 99 cents with the purchase of any smartphone. That's right, 99 cents. So now you don't have to choose between a hot new smartphone or a slick new tablet. Go ahead and treat yourself to both. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Bundle offer ends 12/31/14 while promo supplies last. Must purchase a smartphone on AT&T Next and a tablet with a 2-year wireless agreement and activate service on both. Other charges and restrictions apply. See store for details.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Hey fans, where do you go when you want to know the latest in college basketball? Go to CampusInsiders.com for your college sports inside scoop and video. Watch live games, sports news, editorial, best plays, highlights, and analysis 24 hours a day on your laptop or mobile device. Get the insider scoop from CampusInsiders.com. College sports all day, every day. And don't forget to download the app on Google Play or iTunes today.
At Selective, insurance is our business. For us, it goes beyond who we are. It's in our DNA.
My car was broken into and my laptop was stolen. I didn't know what to do. Scott and Selective were there to help. He walked me through every step of the process. Now I tell everyone about Selective's wonderful service.
We create diamond moments like this for our customers every day. Want to experience your own? Visit Selective.com to find an agent near you.
Back at Brother Jimmy's downtown New Brunswick for this week's edition of the Kyle Flood Show, our Bowl edition, as Rutgers prepares for the Quick Lane Bowl a week from this Friday, the day after Christmas, when the Scarlet Knights will take on North Carolina in Detroit at Ford Field in the Quick Lane Bowl. And Coach, appropriately enough, as we take questions from not only Twitter, but not only the telephones in person here at Brother Jimmy's. He has been here all year long. For the last 2 years, he has been here every week. Our man, Scott.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
How are we doing, Scott?
Doing great.
How'd the finals go?
They haven't started for me yet. I only have one, and it's not till the 22nd. So I'm kind of in limbo right now. Been watching a lot of Netflix, but getting to the book soon.
To be expected, but not tolerated.
Of course. So my question is about the quarterback for North Carolina. I think it's Marquise Wilson. He's a dual threat.
Williams, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah. He averages about 4 yards a carry. He's got about a touchdown per game. He faced a few double threats this year. Barrett from Ohio State, Armstrong from Nebraska, and most recently C.J. Brown from Maryland. How does playing those guys help you neutralize the UNC's quarterback in the bowl game?
Well, it gives you some experience. Every one of those schemes is a little bit different. Marquise is a tremendous player. When you give the statistics the way you did, I don't know that it tells the whole story. If you take out the sacks, it adds about 200 yards rushing to his total, which puts him just under 1,000 yards on the season. He carries the ball more than anybody on the team, so they want him to carry the ball. They have a lot of designed quarterback runs for him, and he does a tremendous job of making enough plays in the passing game to keep you honest. So he's a great athlete. We're going to have to contain him and try to keep him from getting loose, because in the open field he's very, very tough to get down. But I do think, do I think that playing some teams that are similar, does that give you an advantage? I don't know if it's an advantage, but it gives you experience. And it gives you an opportunity to evaluate what you've done and hopefully do it better going forward.
Awesome, great. We'll see you in Detroit. Have a great holiday.
You're going to be there?
I will be there.
I like it. When are you coming
in? We're leaving Christmas morning from LaGuardia, so Christmas in Detroit.
I like it.
We'll see you out there. Take care.
Well, a little bit more on Williams. He was going through some of those numbers. 12 rushing touchdowns, 20 passing touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. What else impresses you about him and about their offense in particular?
Just the elusiveness he has as a quarterback. He's an excellent passer, but he runs like a running back. And if he gets in the open field, he's got good enough speed to run away from you. So this guy's a tremendous weapon offensively.
Go ahead, E.
I was going to ask you, Coach. You play this up-tempo offense, kind of like playing Indiana. You see how fast they got to the ball. How does that prepare you also during the weekend, trying to get the scout team guys going just as fast? It's not going to be exactly game speed, but being prepared already, going through this already through the year. Yeah,
it's one of the challenges of trying to get ready. There you go. Coach Fedora, this is what he does. He was an offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State earlier in his career. They want to go as fast as humanly possible. It's almost a frenetic pace that they try to play at, and you see it on film. Teams in their conference, they snap the ball, they run a play, then you look at the end zone shot, and the defensive linemen are standing up. They're looking at the sideline, still trying to get the call, and the ball's already snapped. So you have to have a no-huddle system of defense in play to get ready to play. And I like the way our coaches do it on defense. I like the way they practice to try to create that frenetic type pace. And that's what you can do. It's a little bit like playing the option. You're never going to be able to simulate it the way they do it because it's what they do. But I think we do a pretty good job of simulating it as well as we can in practice.
Is it similar to a no-huddle offense on the defensive side in that maybe you have to make 2 calls right in a row, more like a 2-minute offense? You have to make 2 calls for 2 plays since they run it so fast.
No, I don't think you want to do that because a lot of the calls on defense are down and distance predicated.
Right.
They're personnel group predicated. Now, if they change personnel groups, the officials are going to stand over the ball. They're going to give you 3 seconds to decide if you're going to change personnel groups. And if you do, then you're going to have more time to get lined up. If you don't, they're going to let them snap it. But when they don't change personnel groups, the coordinator is going to want to get the call in that he wants based on the down and distance. So you just have to have a system in place to communicate at a very fast pace.
We've got a good question on Twitter here from Jay. What is the single, and don't say a collection of things, what is the single most important aspect essential to continuing Rutgers' ascension?
Yeah, Jay thinks it's his radio show. I can answer it however I want to answer. Last time I checked, I have the microphone. But no, if you want one word, I'll give you one word. I'll try and keep the fans happy here on this one. And it's culture. We got to continue to create the right culture at Rutgers with the student athletes that we bring to Rutgers, with the staff that we bring to Rutgers. And if you continue to create a winning culture, you'll get to where you want to go.
And I'm glad you brought up that culture. Getting to see you on the sidelines, at my Colonial Football State Championship game, see some of our great players out there, Jimmy Becker, Teddy Adewusi, checking those guys out. How is it when you get that chance, to finally get to sit back and watch some of these high school football games and some of the players that you may want to bring into the program.
Somehow, some way, it all comes back to Colonia.
It does, man.
Coach LaSala will be very, very proud of you for sneaking this into the radio show tonight. But no, I got a chance to watch a lot of high school games over the last couple of weeks, and some of them in our own stadium, some of those state championship games, and it's a lot of fun. And to see the look on the players' faces when they win that state title, and I don't say that to stick the knife in you, because Colonia came up
overtime, man.
Came up a little short in overtime. Had a great comeback.
Sure did.
Had a great comeback, and they came up a little short in overtime. But when you see the excitement on those young people's faces as they hoist the trophy, it's just a great reminder of how special championship football teams are.
Another question on Twitter: what has practice been like? This is from Bob. What has practice been like in the attitude of the team with finals? How have you handled practice?
Yeah, we don't practice every day. The first week, we don't practice much at all. We try to let them get healthy. And then late the first week, early the second week, we start practicing again. But we only practice 4 times through the first 2 weeks, and now it'll become a little more frequent. So we practice Tuesday. We're going to practice tomorrow. We'll have a run through Friday. We'll practice Saturday, and then we'll be into game week. And I've been really pleased with the attitude and the excitement at practice. I can tell that this group wants to finish off their season with a championship, and that doesn't surprise me. They've been a great group to work with all year. And they've been really focused, even with all the other things going on around them. You know, we have an expression that when we get together for that block of time during the day where we're going to meet and practice, when it's time to work, it's time to work. And when it's been time to work, they've done a great job of working.
And I want to ask you, Coach, you know what? A lot of the players being banged up, as you mentioned before. How do you go about if you want to put on pads for practice, or you want to wear spiders for practice, especially when you want to get in the first and second down game plans? Is that difficult this late in the year?
Yeah, the first 4 practices, we did 2 with shoulder pads on, 2 with spider pads, which are kind of like, they almost resemble lacrosse shoulder pads. You don't do as much hitting when you put them on. We did that early on to try to get everybody healthy. You know, a bowl game is akin to a little bit like the first game of the year. You should be about as healthy as you're going to be, during the football season. So you want to give your team a chance to feel really good when they go out there for that bowl game. And I think we're getting close to that. We've still got some time, so we're not quite there yet, but I think we're getting close to it.
All right, let's step aside one more time. We'll take a timeout. More to do as we preview Rutgers and North Carolina on the bowl edition of the Kyle Flood Show, live at Brother Jimmy's in downtown New Brunswick. Give us a call at 855-FLOOD-44. That's 855-356-6344, and tweet us your questions at RFootball. If you're here in attendance at Brother Jimmy's, come on up front, ask the coach your question. This is the Kyle Flood Show.
What's up, Rutgers? Y'all ready for some football? Brother Jimmy's in New Brunswick is your headquarters for Scarlet Knight football, as well as your home for the Jets, Giants, and all your favorite NFL teams. With over 30 HD TVs, we serve up all the NFL action on Sunday and Monday nights, with amazing food and drink specials all game long. So come on down to Brother Jimmy's and put some South in your mouth. For reservations and event information, visit us at BrotherJimmy's.com. Brother Jimmy's Barbecue, located at 5 Easton Avenue, New Brunswick, New Jersey. See y'all soon.
Look, you are what you eat, so don't be cheap, fast, easy, or fake. At BurgerFi, we're not some big industry fast food giant. We were born here, in a gourmet kitchen started by gourmet chefs. So while the rest of the world chows down on pink slime, we're serving some of the best beef money can buy. Hormone-free, antibiotic-free, bullshit-free. The way it ought to be. Find a location nearest your mouth hole at BurgerFi.com.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
STS Tire and Auto Centers has been a proud sponsor of Rutgers Athletics for over 29 years. Trust STS service professionals to fix your vehicle right the first time and provide peace of mind with every tire purchase. So when your vehicle needs service or a set of the right tires at the right price, turn to any one of STS's 150 neighborhood locations. And with our Tire Price Assurance Plan, you're guaranteed to get the best price on your next set of tires. STS, nobody treats you better than an owner. STStire.com.
At Selective, insurance is our business. For us, it goes beyond who we are. It's in our DNA.
My car was broken into and my laptop was stolen. I didn't know what to do. Scott and Selective were there to help. He walked me through every step of the process. Now I tell everyone about Selective's wonderful service.
We create diamond moments like this for our customers every day. Want to experience your own? Visit Selective.com to find an agent near you.
We are back at Brother Jimmy's in downtown New Brunswick for this week's edition of the Kyle Flood Show. Rutgers in North Carolina in the Quick Lane Bowl on December the 26th. Coach, player from the last several years at Rutgers and his first year out of college, Jeremy Deering in attendance tonight.
A special guest appearance by Jeremy Deering from Florida. A lot of fans will remember. You'll give a round of applause for sure. A special guy, 4-year starter, and I think a lot of fans will remember an over-the-shoulder sideline catch on a deep ball that he made in a huge comeback win against South Florida a couple of years back.
There were some kick returns in there.
Certainly
that were
some
pretty darn good, too.
some scores on special teams.
I'll tell you what, when you look at his career and all the different things he did for your program, wide receiver, playing running back and playing it very effectively a few years back. I mean, he did everything. Then moving to defensive back, kick returns. He's one of those guys that just can be a vital guy to your program.
Yeah, and I'll go back to something we talked about a couple minutes ago. You talk about building the culture of a program and building it with really talented players who are serious about what they're doing in the classroom, but on the field they're unselfish. Jeremy's as unselfish a guy as we've had, and not because he had to be. You know, he's extremely talented and like you said, played a lot of positions for us and filled a lot of holes for us along the way. So it's great to see Jeremy. He was out of practice today, so it was good to see him out there. It's nice to see him here getting something to eat.
And what's that like, Coach, when you try to get these guys when sometimes you need a position filled, like a safety position, but then you may need to bring the guy over wide receiver, or then you have somebody running back, let me throw him back at kick return. How is it like, trying to get one guy to do something like that?
Yeah, it's not hard when you got unselfish people. If you got the right people, it's really not hard. And Jeremy did all those things for us and did them willingly because he knew they were the best things to do for the team, and no different than Justin Goodwin, who did that for us this season, playing defense, playing offense, and helping us win football games.
You got another guy in attendance tonight who does one of the behind-the-scenes jobs and does it as well as anybody. It's behind the scenes, but it's not because you see him a lot during the game, and if you're watching at home, you see him a lot. And that's the guy that's consistently next to you on the sideline or running in and out of the tunnel, Kenny Ford.
Yeah, Kenny Ford's here tonight, Officer Kenny. Rutgers alumnus, former football player at Rutgers, now working for the RUPD. And a little-known fact, Kenny Ford and the head football coach at Rutgers share a birthday.
Is that true?
Really? Yes, we do.
Is that true? Well, just look for the exceptionally handsome guy next to Coach Flood.
That's right.
Every week, and he is there. But so let's talk a little bit more about this matchup with North Carolina, Coach. How about their defense? They just made a change in defensive coordinator, but what do they do that concerns you in terms of your matchups with them?
I think that they do a lot of things on defense. They're very multiple. They're multiple with their fronts. They're multiple with their pressures. I think they're athletic up front. It's one of the things Coach RVision said. He said, all the years he's been coaching against North Carolina, they've always been blessed with really great athletes up front on defense, and I don't think this group is any different. So I think there's going to be some challenges there, and some of the challenges are going to be with the unknown. When you have a staff shifting, it creates some uncertainty in terms of what you're actually going to see. So their defensive coordinator is in place, but the assistant head coach for defense who was there, who had a lot of input, is not there anymore. So there's certainly a little bit of an unknown factor to what we're going to see. So we got to really be ready for anything.
I was going to ask you, Coach, have you been through that, switching coordinators and trying to get the defensive guy ready for a game plan? How is that as a coach? Sometimes there's a lot of pressure on you. Do you put more time, more focus with the defense, trying to get everything right?
I think you probably spend a little bit more time over there as a head coach when you do something like that. I was very fortunate to have Joe Rossi on our staff, somebody who had coordinator experience, somebody who had been working with the defense the entire year. And I think Carolina's in a similar situation, but it doesn't mean they're going to handle it the same way. So we made some decisions during bowl prep in terms of what we wanted to do and what we thought would make us better. And I thought we played pretty well in that bowl game, and it was one of the reasons why Joe is our defensive coordinator today. So now, again, will they handle it the same way, and will we get a version of their current defense? It's possible. Could we get something a little bit different? I think that's probably more likely. Are we going to get something very different? That's probably unlikely. Just not enough time to do something a lot different.
Carolina finished 6-6 in the season, 4-4 in the ACC. They had wins over San Diego State, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, and Duke when they were ranked. They also had a couple of close losses, including a shootout with Notre Dame at one point during the year, 50-43. It should be interesting, and you get some of the younger guys, but one older guy in particular who gets a chance to play in his first bowl game, and that's Drew Terzilli. First of all, he'll be healthy for this game, correct?
We believe he'll be healthy. He was out there practicing the other day, and he looked pretty good. It was the first time he'd been out there. So he was a guy who benefited from the break, got a chance to rehab, and he looked pretty good the other day. He'll do a little bit more tomorrow. And this is a special opportunity for Drew, and something we talked about in the recruiting process, that we were going to try to give him an opportunity to do something that he had not done. And at a program that's been to 9 bowl games in 10 years, I've said this before, you don't ever take them for granted. They're all special, and when you're playing in the postseason, that's success. And here's a guy who played 4 years of college football and never got a chance to play in a bowl game, and now he's got a chance to play one in his final season. I know he's looking forward to it.
I was going to ask you, Coach, I'm sure, him taking in the whole bowl experience, he's going to love that. But for the other players around him, especially once he's close with, how important is it going to be for them to go 1-0 and get him an actual bowl win also?
I like the way you said that, Eric. You're buying in for it. I like that.
Hey, Coach, come on, don't wait now.
I like that a lot. I think the players take it into account. I think when we got to 5, they rallied around the idea of getting a 6 for Drew and giving him a chance to go to the postseason. I certainly mentioned it to him, and now to get him a win, I think that's going to be important. But I think getting the win is really about the program and making this a championship program for this season, and being the champions of the Quick Lane Bowl is something these guys are going to get a chance to carry with them for the rest of their lives, and they're going to get a ring. And on that ring, you want that ring to say champions. Those are the special rings. When you look back, you say, all right, hey, that's a championship team.
Absolutely.
One more time out, and we'll continue to preview Rutgers and North Carolina in just a moment. Live from Brother Jimmy's in downtown New Brunswick, this is the Kyle Flood Show.
Hey fans, where do you go when you want to know the latest in college basketball? Go to CampusInsiders.com for your college sports inside scoop and video. Watch live games, sports news, editorial, best plays, highlights, and analysis 24 hours a day on your laptop or mobile device. Get the insider scoop from CampusInsiders.com. College sports all day, every day. And don't forget to download the app on Google Play or iTunes today.
Right now, AT&T has a deal that gives you more of what you want, a lot more. Get the LG G Pad tablet for 99 cents with the purchase of any smartphone. That's right, 99 cents. So now you don't have to choose between a hot new smartphone or a slick new tablet. Go ahead and treat yourself to both. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Bundle offer ends 12/31/14 while promo supplies last. Must purchase a smartphone on AT&T Next and the tablet with a 2-year wireless agreement and activate service on both. Other charges and restrictions apply. See store for details.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
When you park with the parking spot, our friendly drivers get you from trunk to airport terminal faster. And the time you save parking with us, you can use to daydream about the road trip and leading a stadium of screaming fans in the biggest wave ever. Make a free reservation now at theparkingspot.com, and with the money you save, you'll be able to afford face paint remover. Free reservations now at theparkingspot.com. The Parking Spot, proud sponsor of Rutgers Athletics. We have airport parking covered.
Look, you are what you eat, so don't be cheap, fast, easy, or fake. At BurgerFi, we're not some big industry fast food giant. We were born here, in a gourmet kitchen started by gourmet chefs. So while the rest of the world chows down on pink slime, we're serving some of the best beef money can buy. Hormone-free, antibiotic-free, bullshit-free. The way it ought to be. Find a location nearest your mouth hole at BurgerFi.com.
We are back at Brother Jimmy's in downtown New Brunswick. Couple of minutes left in this week's edition of the Kyle Flood Show. And Eric, I wanted to talk to you for a second about this whole bowl experience from the player's perspective. And, when you're preparing for it, it's interesting. You're going through all this right now. You're going through your final exams. You're itching to get to the bowl, I'm sure. Tell me about the player's experience from when you find out where you're going to actually getting there.
Well, it's all about what Coach Flores first said. When it's time to work, it's time to work. When it's time to play, it's time to play. Even when you're still here in Jersey, when you're working, you got to go through your finals, get the things up, making sure you're meeting with your academic advisors. And then also, you got to practice and get ready, too. then when you get that little downtime, you look up stuff in the area where you're going to. You look at, oh, wow, they got this. Oh, let's check out this maybe when we have our free time. And then once you get out there, it's just an incredible. You have your schedule and everything when you practice and everything. You're done with exams by then. But then you get to enjoy all the bowl festivities that the bowl has in place for you. And by the time you're usually done with that, it's time for you to go to bed. You get tired, got to get some rest too for these bowl games. And my first year we flew out on Christmas Day. I never expected anything like that, but you get used to it. This becomes your family, and you just this is who you're hanging out with. These are your cousins now, and it's just a great experience taking it in. I got to do it 2 times with the Papa John's Bowl in Birmingham, Alabama, and then St. Petersburg Bowl down in St. Pete's.
Tampa, St. Pete.
And if memory serves, sack in that game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Is that the bowl highlight in those 2 years for you, or what was that?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I remember I was Special Teams Player of the Week in the Birmingham game. I had 3 tackles on the special teams, and then the sack and a big tackle in the St. Petersburg game.
How much did you play on defense in the game in Birmingham?
Birmingham, I got maybe 10 plays that game on defense, and then the special because Jamal Westerman had the surgery on his arm that day.
He was unavailable.
Yeah, so I got about 10 plays on defense, and then the rest were my special teams.
Yeah, there was a guy named Russell Wilson who was playing quarterback that day for NC State.
For the first half.
For the first half, and then the second half he got a little banged up. But, Coach, so now with this whole bowl experience, tell me about what you're focusing on here moving into the game and when you really get into that full-on game mode.
I think, I think this week, we're in game plan mode. Let me say it that way. We're not quite in game mode. We're not practicing every day. But when we get to Monday, it's game plan week. There's a lot of things you're going to remember about a bowl game. But I'm going to tell you this. The most important thing you're going to remember is whether or not you were 1-0.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. So all the other stuff is great. And there's plenty of time for all the other stuff. As long as you understand when it's time to work, it's time to work. Because ultimately, like I said before, you want that ring to say champions. And you want to be the one out on the field holding that trophy. And for us as a program, it's been too long since we did that. And I know the players are excited about bringing that back to our program.
And, Coach, I'm glad you brought that up. I'll never forget after that game in St. Pete's when we did win. We were 1-0 that night. And it was, I think, 11:30. It felt like it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, how we were just all celebrating on the field and in the locker room. And then back at the hotel, there's no better feeling than going back to the hotel. Everywhere you got your fans there clapping for you. You got all the people that work at the hotel. No greater feeling than being 1-0 with that bowl game, Coach.
Probably the best memories of each of those games when you are 1-0 in a championship setting, bowl game, playoff, whatever it is, are the times on the field after
exactly.
Exactly like you're saying, because you're right. You feel like you can't go to sleep.
Well, now you've got an opportunity to get down there and to go 1-0. So I will ask you one more time this year your keys to the game against North Carolina.
Well, I think some of them are obvious. When we run the ball well on offense, we play good offense. It opens up our play action game and protecting the football. Gary making good decisions like he has for almost all of this year, with the exception of maybe one game. So we're excited about the chance to do that. And on defense, I think it's even more specific than that. It's really minimizing the quarterback. He is where their offense begins and ends. He's the guy that runs the ball more than anybody else. He's the quarterback, so he's the one throwing it and doing a great job. And if we can minimize his impact on the game, we're going to have a chance to keep him down.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Another bowl game, and it is a week from Friday, the day after Christmas, the Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field in Detroit against North Carolina, 4:30 p.m. kick.
We're excited. We got some work to do before we get on the plane, and we're going to get that done. But when we get out to Detroit, we're going to be ready to go. And I know that the team is ready to go. The fans are going to be ready to go, those in attendance and watching on TV, and it's going to be a great day for our program.
We'll see you in the Motor City, Coach.
Sounds good.
Another great year working with you, Coach. Good luck.
I appreciate that, E. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody out there and a wonderful holiday season. I want to thank everybody that's been involved with our broadcast all year long. Tim DeMartin, Colin Osborne on the ScarletKnights.com and RVision side, and, of course, Paul Schrager and James Cooney on the radio side. Jason Baum and Jimmy Gill is always getting it done for us. Guys, a pleasure. We will see you a week from Friday. Rutgers in North Carolina in the Quick Lane Bowl. This has been the Kyle Flood Show.
You've been listening listening to The Kyle Flood Show, live from Brother Jimmy's on Easton Avenue in New Brunswick. The Kyle Flood Show has been brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Pepsi, live for now. UPS, to learn how UPS can put the power of logistics to work for you, visit thenewlogistics.com.